Chilly but beautiful start to the day. It is Monday morning, January 31st. I'm First Warning Meteorologist Eric Burrs. You made it to Coffee Talk, where we get together every day, 7 days a week. We chat about what's going on in the world of weather, hopefully get your day started off on the right note. Speaking of the right note, if you like the chill, this is definitely the right note for you. Everybody the last couple of days has basically gotten to freezing, except Orlando. Take a look. The last freeze a day or so ago in all of our reporting stations. Orlando, your last freeze was 1,474 days ago. Yeah. Missed it by like that much. Shot from our Tower Cam network in downtown Orlando, off in the distance. A beautiful start. It is a cold one, though, as we rise and shine. I hope you're ready for it. I had to put the nice heavy jacket back on this morning. It is currently 38 degrees in the city, beautiful. We're at 46 degrees in Leesburg, about 36 degrees in Ocala, 39 in New Smyrna Beach, and where are we? 27 down in Palm Bay. The more rural spots still easily have the opportunity to get cold. But when we compare temperatures to this time yesterday, yeah, we are actually warmer across most of town. 2 degrees warmer in Orlando than this time yesterday. It is 13 degrees warmer in Ocala than this time yesterday. And I can confirm that because I was up in Marion County yesterday morning and it was every bit very cold out. So, yeah, it has been a chilly couple of days. Yesterday, 33 degrees at Orlando International Airport. This morning, 33 degrees at Orlando International Airport. So as I mentioned, it has still been for more than 4 years now since Orlando has hit freezing. Isn't that something? I feel like we used to get freezing temperatures in Orlando like every single year. We've gone through a little bit of a hiatus. All right, so let's talk about the forecast ahead. We're looking beautiful. It's going to be a chilly morning, but at least we rebound nicely. 52 by 11 o'clock, 61 degrees by 1 o'clock, and whoa, do we nearly hit 70 degrees this afternoon? You better believe it. It's looking absolutely great. Yeah, Ann says, glad it's only temporary, Eric. I agree with that. Ann says, good morning. Can I please uncover my plants now? Frostproof in my butt. What does that body part have to do with it? Unless it's pain in my butt. Is that what you're referring? Maybe. Is that where you're going with that? I've got my palms covered. I'll take the coverings off, I think, today, because we'll look at the 7-day forecast and then we'll get back in depth, right? Tonight down to 42 in the metro. That's not the kind of weather where you have to cover it up. So I think at that point, yeah, I think that we'll be, yeah, I think we'll be okay. All right, advisories. We had freeze and frost advisories, but as of 8 o'clock, they have been allowed to expire. So now we're starting little by little to watch the temperatures climb. It's going to be a beautiful day. Look at that, 68 degrees. Man, that's very nice. That's very, very, very nice stuff. Now, if we take it neighborhood by neighborhood, I do want to make sure that everybody knows what's going on in your neighborhood. Here we are. Today, nearly 70 in our entire coverage area. What a nice rebound it is. What a nice rebound it is. John says 38 in Castleberry. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. 38 in Eustis. Good. Chris says, love the sunshine. I'll agree with that. Last night's least favorite temporary Florida resident, the captain of the cruise ship. Yeah, that was... And a lot of people were saying that it was Royal Caribbean, but it looked like it was probably not Royal Caribbean. It was the one that came out of port right after Royal. At any rate, here we are, yet again, trying to launch Cosmos SkyMed, which is on a Falcon 9. 90% chance of good weather. My feelings to everybody that wanted to go out and enjoy, because everything looked good except for that ship in the way. So I don't know officially which cruise ship it is, but I have a feeling somebody's going to get in the good old-fashioned pow-pow from the Coast Guard, you know? It's like if you bust a TFR, the FAA is going to have something to say about that. Holly, good morning to you. Tim, a one-layered day in the Burris. Yeah. Well, it was a two-layer day plus a scarf outside. But I'm in the office, so yeah. And not in my butt, just frostproof how to freeze. Great. Okay, I'm like, what does your tuchus have to do with it? Norm says 32.6 on the Tempest in East Orlando. What did my Tempest say today? Stand by. It's 37.6 at my house. We made it to 33.3 today. Made it to 30.0 at my house yesterday. So it was a little milder today, although it was more widespread frost today than it was yesterday. Speaking of frost and freeze, look at some of these temperatures yesterday morning. Yesterday morning was the colder start. Williston, 19. Lake Catherine, 20. Bunnell, 25. Wekiva Springs, 25. Zellwood, 23. I was in the lab, and I took this picture. The wife asked, "How you doing?" And this was what I sent. This was just into Marion County. That was yesterday. And I don't know if you could see the temperature there or not. Of course, it doesn't want to focus, does it? It says 23. So I was like passing Marion Oaks, and it was 23. Yeah, so that was about the coldest that we got in the lab yesterday. But, I mean, that was chilly. Yeah. Let's see here. Yukon, comment scrolling quick. Why are southeastern cooler today or as cool, but northern so much warmer? It has to do with the wind. It has to do with the wind direction. Yeah. So it was definitely an interesting little scenario overnight. But yeah, wind and wind direction were the players in that. Yeah. Catherine says 36 in Deltona. Shauna, the ship was an MSC ship. I looked on port cam. Well, right. And I assumed that it was the MSC ship just because Royal kind of made it out and turned real quick. MSC was a little later. And so at either rate, SpaceX didn't come out to confirm who it was. I assumed when I first looked at the marine tracker, I thought it was Royal Caribbean, but then it was MSC coming right out of the port. And I was like, but see, I don't know how it works. Does the port, would the port have come out and said like, hey, maybe now's not a good time to come out, or is it just you're the pilot in command, so to speak? I don't know. All right, so winds today are going to start to shift, and as that happens, we start trending milder and milder and milder. These next couple of days looking better and better for our Florida interests, I'm happy to say. Yeah. In the meantime, if you've got out and about plans today, it's good. It's a cold start. Your greens are going to be slow as molasses because of the frost this morning. But through the day, things do look a little bit better, right? Yukon says, sounds like Captain Kirk running the ship, just tells the crew to ignore it. Yeah. I don't know. I'd be interested to see how that plays out. And then the other thing is like, is there a fine associated with that? Because they kind of missed the boat, for lack of a better term. I don't know how that works. So high pressure keeping us really nice and comfy. Still cool. Tomorrow we get into a bit of a milder stretch. Then we start to warm, frankly. Mid to late week, look at that. Little by little by little, we start to warm. Now, as that's happening, we look up to the north, and there is yet another winter storm system marching our way. Marlene says, pretty sure port pilot, usually on ships when leaving, the cruise ship captain cannot just leave. That's what I thought, too. I just don't know how that works. I know how it works, like, in the aviation world. But I don't know how it works in the port world. And then, I didn't look to see, like, the restricted area. Were they able to kind of come out of the jetty and make a hard right? Or is it a case where, like for example, in the aviation world, as long as you skirt the TFR, which is TFR stands for temporary flight restriction, you're good. As long as you stay outside of it, you're good. But how does that work in the ocean deal? Their reputation is sunk. I see what you did there. Waka, waka, waka. It's funny. We were watching the end of the football game, and we had the TV on upstairs. I was over at my in-laws' house, so we had the TV on upstairs, ran out to the balcony because they live beachside, and then looking out and looking out and looking out, and it's like, nope, Nope. And I had my phone on because I was streaming it on Facebook, and it's on a little bit of a delay, so like when it hits like T-1 minute, that's when you need to look. At any point, they hold because of the cruise ship, and it's like, okay, back to the football game, everybody. Yeah. So anyway, that's that. Yeah. So we're warming up these next couple of days. I'm okay with that. That's what's nice this time of year. We get that shift from the chill to the milder air and then back to the chill. Today and tomorrow looking great. Wednesday. Let's talk about Wednesday a little bit. You may or may not remember, but we are coming up on a pretty big anniversary, and I'm trying to work on a story. I want to take the Weather Lab out and do a story on the Groundhog Day tornadoes back in 2007. So I'm in for Manalfi tonight and tomorrow. So I'm working night side, which means we're going to have to fight to stay awake, because you know as well as I do, I've become a morning person, dealing with waking up early for work, and then of course for the kids. So I'm going to have to fight to stay awake. So we're going to do an evening coffee talk. You don't get Manalfi, you get me. Sorry, Manalfi needs some days off. The putts came in yesterday. You know what's funny about him? He doesn't know how to say my name. You want to hear him toss to me to do weather once yesterday? Listen to this.
Just Eric Burst is
out. Burst? Eric Burst?
Right now, where meteorologist Eric Burst is, I believe.
Hey, you got it right that time. I feel like half the time I was standing outside, he'd say my name wrong. And I'm like, Tony, we've known each other almost 20 years at this point. Not really. I mean, it's like 16 years. We've known each other 16 years. Anyway, so he needs some time off. He came in yesterday. He's worked a little bit. When it comes to this week, though, yeah, Wednesday, Groundhog Day, the anniversary of what is in recent memory one of the top 2 worst tornado outbreaks in Central Florida record, at least in recent memory. Of course, 1998 would have been the worst, which we're coming up on that anniversary as well. But yeah, for Wednesday, the Groundhog Day tornado. Do we have? I don't know if we've got any information on that. Yeah, the Groundhog Day tornadoes of 07. An EF3 touching down at 3 a.m. across Sumter and Lake counties, an EF3 touching down Northern Lake into West Volusia County, and then an EF1 touching down back off east. It was from the same supercell. I covered Lake Mac that day, February 2nd, 2007. And then my first day ever on the air at WESH was February 4th of 2007. It was the Sunday morning. I was live just east of 1792, just east of Woodland in DeLand. Yeah. So my 15-year WESHiversary is coming up, it's like a terrible memory, certainly. But yeah, so Tony was there. I was there covering for South Florida. But yeah, so those are quite memories. And for those of us that lived in Florida, we can remember just how bad they were. I'm grateful that in our 7-day forecast here, we do not have that. Any kind of a mention of severe weather. Yeah. Cindy says the tornado crossed my road, Grays Airport Road, Lady Lake. Awful. I remember calling my dad and waking him up because it was so bad. I was working in South Florida at the time. And at the WESH sister station, which is how I got to come up to Orlando to cover it that Sunday. But I remember chatting with Dad, waking him up and saying, "Dad, there's a terrible weather, tornado warnings. It looks like it may be a tornado," and waking him up. And at the time, he worked at DeLand Nissan, and I remember him telling me later that day that there was at least one family that came up to him. And he said that they had just their house was trashed, Their car was trashed, and they needed something. They literally lost everything. So they either got a lift to the dealership, or they walked, or what. But they went and they bought a car that day, and that memory sticks with me. Yeah, so that's quite an anniversary coming up on Wednesday. So I'm going to be putting a story together for that. And for those of you that went through it, whether it passed by near you, what are your memories of it? I mean, I would love to share my memories. I think I even have video clips of me. That was the first time, yeah, we could talk more about it, but that was the first time that I had been out in the field covering a terrible weather event, and it struck me pretty hard to the point where, it's 15 years ago, and yet I remember the smell that I smelled. So we'll talk more about that on Wednesday. Beverly says, forgive Tony. He's Italian and your name isn't. That's hilarious. I always forgive. Listen, I forgive Tony. Even when he throws a fit, I forgive him. Because when I throw a fit, he forgives me. That's what true friends are all about. Linda, are there rocket launches today or tomorrow? I know the weather postponed a couple. Yeah, so today, I believe we've got it today and tomorrow. So it was originally scheduled that they were going to launch this rocket on Friday, or was it? It was Thursday or Friday, and then the Starlink was Saturday. And then every time they've had to move this one, they've just pushed the Starlink back because Starlink is a company rocket. This is for a client. So I could tell you today, 6/11, there is a launch scheduled, and it's 90% chance of good weather. And because they bumped this to today, they have then bumped Starlink back again another day. Arnett, we had to move out of our house for 6 months. Arnett, I know it's not Coffee Talk drive-through, but I would love to have you pop on maybe on Wednesday. I don't know if you're around, or we could tape it, but I'd love to chat with you. I'd love to chat with you on Coffee Talk, just to hear about having to move out of your house for 6 months. And Arnett, it was you I was indirectly talking to because I remember you telling me that. But I'd love to hear about what that was like. I'm sure it was terrible, but I'd love to hear more. I'd love if you're willing to. I would love to hear about it. Linda, thank you for the update. Of course. Audrey, good morning from Melbourne. You look wonderful. My cousin Jackie's one. Oh yeah, I love Jackie. Jackie's good people. David, good morning to you. Chris, it's going to happen. Well, as long as we can keep the range clear, then yeah, today should happen. And then we can hope for the launch tomorrow to happen. That would be ideal. 2:17 p.m. for Starlink tomorrow, yeah. And if I wasn't working for Tony, I would be fighting to cover both of these launches. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Mercy says, good morning, Coffee Talk crowd. I remember the horror of the turkeys in 2007. A few days later, from the air, you could see the path, like Giant had dragged his feet along the path. It was eerie. It was risky, weird. It's church near us. The other buildings near untouched. So strange. The power of nature. I remember that. Yeah. When you say the horror of the turkeys, what do you mean by that? Susie, good morning to you. How are you? Kari, good morning to you. I do recall, just like in 90, like I remember in 98 as well, where you could see the pathways of the tornadoes that had touched down and moved across streets and things like that. You know? Susie, good morning. Melissa, so glad this cold is going to chill out. Walking the dogs in the morning is rough. Yeah, I agree with that. Yukon says, get Tony Jr. to come in tonight and drag race the lab around town. Mercy says tornadoes, not turkeys. Okay, I'm like, was there something about turkeys that I didn't know about? Yeah. Yeah, the horror of the tornadoes in 2007. It was remarkable. And as I recall, it was also the first time the enhanced Fujita scale was used. Which, as we're chatting about this, Okay, sorry. I'm working with our digital folks because I'm trying to do some things here. I'm trying to do some things to go over coverage for Wednesday. Yeah. Make the cold go away permanently, Annette. I can't do that. Jan, I lived in Seminole County in '98. I remember that well. Yeah, I do too. I can recall in '98, and that anniversary is coming up. But I can recall in '98. I can recall watching the coverage on TV, looking out my window, and seeing green flashes on the horizon. And I remember it was in that moment that I started to realize this is real tornadoes. You know, this isn't the fake stuff. This is a real tornado. So February is always a pretty decent tornado season for us in Central Florida. Looking at our 7-day forecast, I'm happy to say that is not in the forecast for us these next couple of days. I am curious, though, when our next storm threat would be. Give me a second here. I want to just look through. Bear with me. Where are we? We're at the end of January. Yeah, okay. I think the pattern shift at the end of February. Yeah, as I'm looking, I believe the pattern shift at the end of February starts focusing more into a severe threat. So give me a second here. Let's look at this together. I'm going to pull up my LRC notes here. And I'll pop it on the screen there. All right. These are my LRC notes here. Let me make it much smaller, like 50%. Okay, there we go. All right, so the way that I track this, just so that you're aware, the way that I track this is I've got the day on the left, so you can see about where we start the cycle. Okay, and I take local features, high temperature, average, low temperature, average, precipitation, and then local notes, okay? And then beyond that, I also have started to take notes on severe weather and kind of its severity. It's a fairly rough thing. So like, for example, this day there was severe weather in Florida, and if I look back, severe cold front, severe storms, 2 tornadoes, 1 water spout. That was October 9th. That was October 28th. All right. So based on all this, what I then do is I look ahead. So like for February, let's just come through here. For February, cycle day 51 through 14. So if I come up here to 51, 51. So if I do 51 through 14, these highlighted days, that's February. So you can kind of see, just looking roughly, the beginning of February probably going to be cool. Then we start to shift warmer. And then the end of February, we're going to start to get cold again. But you notice there is a severe deal there in the month of February for Florida. These two big ones here, these two big ones are the big tornado outbreaks in Kentucky. So that right there, those are going to be 2 days that we're going to have to watch out. So here we are. This is January 31st. And I see a few misspellings. Ignore the misspellings because if I'm honest, I've not been paying attention to this. I just kind of slam that through and work on through. So, but at any rate, so cycle day 62 and cycle day 3. So cycle day 62 and cycle day 3, let's just roll this together. Cycle day 62. So February 12th and February 17th. February 12th and February 17th, those are going to be days where we're going to have to watch for severe weather up to the north. In our area, it looks like cycle day 9. So based on cycle day 9, I would say that roughly February 23rd is going to be a time frame where we're going to have to watch for the threat of severe weather. February 23rd. Based on that, because if it's cycle day 9, if we come back up to cycle day 9, there was a storm system, brought a Gulf low, southwest Florida, severe. All right? So again, now what's the difficult thing is that is right on the anniversary of the 1998 tornadoes, basically. The 1998 tornadoes, February 22nd, February 23rd. That is, by the way, our worst. Yukon, make some pivot tables. What do I need to do? What did you see that I need to do still? I have tables, but what else do I need to do, Yukon? Help me. That file that you're looking at, those are my raw LRC notes, and it works and it works and it works. We work it harder and harder every day. If anybody's really great at Excel and data, I mean, I think I'm pretty decent, but there's one thing that I would love to get that to do that it has not done yet. So may have to work on that. But at any rate, so February 22nd, February 23rd, 1998, Florida's absolute worst tornado outbreak. F2s, F3s, yeah. So based on that, what's interesting is on that same date, February 22nd, February 23rd, just looking at the LRC, February 22nd and February 23rd, come over here, February 22nd and February 23rd, that's cycle day 8 and cycle day 9, and if we come up here to cycle day 8 and cycle day 9, you can very clearly see outside of temperatures, I've got it marked right there in red, Gulf low into southwest Florida. Southwest Florida severe. So that's December 20th and 21st. So let's just look at SPC. What were the days again I was looking at? December 20th and December 21st. December 20th. All right, so there's the storm report for December 20th. One red dot, tornado in Lee County. One injured. Emergency management reports tornado touchdown. That's the 20th. That's December 20th, which cycles to the 22nd of February. And then that's the 21st, which it wasn't tornadoes that day, but it was rather Manatee wind reports, 73 miles per hour. Manatee County, large tree that fell, and then Miami-Dade County. Yeah. Strong thunderstorm, damage to a car. Yeah. So anyway, you can kind of see the idea, right? So that's going to come through around the 22nd, 23rd of February. Same days of the 98 tornado outbreak. Certainly hope that it's not going to be as strong, and I'm certainly not saying that it will be as strong, but it will just be an interesting thing. That's at least what the LRC is pointing to. For now, we're starting to trend a little milder. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. Yeah. Pivot tables allow looking at data in different ways. Can use long range to see what's coming. Yeah, we were just chatting about that part. Yukon, when I was in a more professional career, my colleague would teach us all pivot tables. Pivot tables were ways of streamlining and interpreting the data. That's interesting. I mean, if you saw something that could help me, I would certainly appreciate that. The one thing that I want to do, if I'm being honest, and maybe Excel masters can help me with this. So the thing that I always struggle with, this is just my raw data, is you can see once you get down, it's blank. What I want to do, like today's the 31st, so today's cycle day 50. You see how the temperature data and the rain data is not there? I wish there should be a way that I could type in a code and it populates all of that for any city around. There should be a way to do that. I need to figure out a way to do that. So if anybody's a stud on Excel or Google Sheets, I have to do all of this manually. And and Ryan, my young apprentice, helps me out immensely with that. But like the notes, I know that's all manual, and I have to work on that. And I do want to show you also. I don't have it there. Let me show you what I'm also. I have to do it. I also take this data and I graph it. I don't know that I graph in 500 millibar heights, and we've chatted about that. So that's, it would be nice to be able to find a way to automate all that stuff. But I take, Alex Alisi and I really do work a lot in Excel, and we bring a lot, like the Weather Lab data, that's all coming through Microsoft Excel, going out, grabbing JSON data and bringing it in. There's so many nerd things that we do in the Weather Center on Excel, but there's certain things that are still just a little beyond where I am. So there you go. With tornadoes, what are the green flashes of light? So with tornadoes, flashing green lights, that's power flashes. That usually, if you see green flashes of light, that's transformers getting bopped, and that usually means you've got a tornado on the ground. So that's what I recall in 98. Yeah. Micros or macros, Chris? We use macros because a lot of these that we run, they're in the background and they just run automatically. They pop up the model intensity models for hurricanes. That's macro data, macro enabled spreadsheet data. Airport delays, that's macro spreadsheet. We've got all kinds of stuff. There is a way my husband knew how to do it. Would automatically download MOS data to the interesting. We do macros. The problem is each cell, you have to grab a certain part. It's parsing it that would be the problem. It would take a long time, I think. I've never really tried. Maybe I'll have to try it. It'd be nice. But it's going in and finding the days, yeah. Can you check with UCF Computer? I could, but it's just one of those things. It is what it is. So anyway, all right, so that's all I've got. Yeah, so we've got some big anniversaries coming up here in the world of Central Florida climatology, and we're going to try and have you covered every step of the way, all right? In the meantime, today, nearly 70, tomorrow into the 70s, and by Thursday, we'll hit 80 degrees. What a relief it is. Jennifer, my husband does nerd things. He would know if it can be automated and how to do it. I love nerd things. I do nerd things too. I feel like in this group, you're either a nerd or you're a nerd that doesn't want to admit that you're a nerd. I don't know. All right. That's all I got. Listen, I'm in for Manalfi, so I will see you at 3:30 for an updated coffee talk as we get ready for the 4 o'clock news. I believe Cam's in. I believe I'm just doing the 5, 6, 10, and 11. If that's the case, then I will see you for that and for an evening coffee talk at 9 p.m. So 3:30 and 9. Wow, you get 3 Facebook Lives and Twitter Lives with me. What a nightmare. Have a great Monday. Stay warm this morning and enjoy the sunshine later today.